In John chapter 1, verses 1 and 2, it says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God." Today we're going to talk about John chapter 1, verse 2. We've already developed a lot of these ideas in previous videos related to John chapter 1, verse 1. He was in the beginning with God. Who is He? We talk about who the Word is, His identity. He was in the beginning. We've talked about the Word and His eternal nature and how He was in the beginning at creation and with God. Chapter 1, verse 1 says He was in the beginning with God and He was God. So nothing that I can really say new developing these ideas, but I want to look at a couple more passages related to the fact that Jesus was in the beginning. And this is not related to in the beginning eternally before creation, but Preincarnate, Jesus in Old Testament times. Now, there's a couple of New Testament writers who attribute things that are only attributed to God in the Old Testament to Jesus in the New Testament. It says, now, in Jude chapter 1, Jude only has one chapter, Jude verse 5, "Now I want to remind you, although you once fully knew it, that Jesus, who saved a people out of the land of Egypt, afterward destroyed those who did not believe." Now, this is referring to the wandering in the wilderness, and it says Jesus saved a people out of the land of Egypt. This is talking about the Passover and the deliverance through the Red Sea, and in the Old Testament, this is attributed only to God. But Jude attributes this to Jesus. So Jude is acknowledging this coexistence with God and this work with God in the New Testament. In 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verses 9 and 10, Paul writes, "We must not put Christ to the test, as some of them did, and were destroyed by serpents, nor grumble, as some of them did, and were destroyed by the destroyer." So, in the Old Testament account, in Numbers chapter 23, where God sends serpents among the people and destroys them for their grumbling, Paul attributes this to putting Christ to the test. Where in the Old Testament, the writer would say that they were putting God to the test. Paul is saying they were putting Christ to the test, making that connection and equating the two. So, He was in the beginning with God. He was in the beginning at creation and in eternity past, and He was also in the beginning with God before He was incarnate in the flesh, as God led the people of Israel through the wilderness and into the promised land and was with them. Thank you.